right. What's going on, guys? Bam. My stash is looking a little bit uncured right now. Okay. All right. Huh. What's going on, guys? What's poppin'? What's going on, Kicks? What's going on, SoCal? Good to see y'all, man. It's been a minute since I've been at the shelf, so I'm like trying to make sure it looks nice for everybody because I've been grabbing bottles like crazy. Okay. All right. Bottom shelf can just be bottom shelf. Yeah, I've been sick too, man. Listen, my voice is still not all there, man, so I empathize with you completely. I'm not all there yet either, so I don't know how this might be the only live I go where when I say I'm signing off, I'm actually signing off. Okay. Yeah, man. I don't have a PO box, but I do have a private box now that I have my own scent bubble address. So I'll be giving that out shortly. It'll actually be in the description of my videos starting next Monday. I just haven't announced it yet because I've been so sick. Yep, JB just got the EDT of Arrows. There you go, brother. You enjoying it, JB? Yeah, dude, my voice is cash. Cash, man. By the way, Kicks, I talked to Gator and or no, I didn't talk to Gator. I reached out to Gator. He's a little bit busy. So I'm gonna talk to him tomorrow to lock in that date for Sunday. So I'll get back to you. I'll give you a call tomorrow about the time situation. You like it? Okay, good, JB. No, I'm getting over being sick, so my voice is still gone and everything. I've been sick for like 2 weeks. That's why I haven't been live in forever. Red thing blinking. Oh, you just talking about the lights? Let me move this back a little bit. There we go. Yeah, I'll definitely let you know. I reached out to him today. He didn't answer. I could call him again. I know he'd pick up, but because of the live and everything, and it's Friday, I'm like, I'm gonna just hit him up. I'm gonna give him a breather. I'll holler at him tomorrow. How y'all been though, man? How y'all doing tonight? What do you think of Versace the Dreamer? It's old. It's dated. You know, Nobody really, there's no real age for Versace Dreamer today, I feel. Like the only person that could really make a case for Dreamer is like an older male who still enjoys it. And by older male, I mean like, I mean, dang, I'd almost be willing to say 60 plus might make a case for nostalgia. But there's so many DNAs like Dreamer that absolutely obliterated. Really, no one should be wearing Versace Dreamer today. You know, with fragrances like Nautica Voyage, um, Nautica Voyage has a timelessness to where even if you don't think it's all that as a DNA, it's still very fresh and very timeless. Might smell, I don't know if cheap's the right word, but just dated. You know what I mean? But if you're somebody just getting into fragrance, this still has a modern timelessness to it. So something like Nautica Voyage, even though it's old as dirt, you can still make a case to wear it. Dreamer, just purely off DNA. And again, my bottle is an original. You know, I had two bottles when I was a kid of Dreamer. This is my second bottle. This is an original formulation from either the late 90s or the very, very early 2000s. Um, and I just have it for nostalgia. Even when I had it when I was a kid, I did not buy this fragrance. This fragrance was given to me. So I wasn't the biggest fan of Dreamer even when I was a kid. I think it was a much more 20 to 35-year-old type of fragrance, even back in the late 90s to early 2000s. Um, but the DNA is just so not timeless to me. Um, it's hard to make a case to wear Dreamer in 2025 unless you're an old man. To me, I mean, again, I know nobody that wears Dreamer unless they don't have a lot of fragrances and they just happen to stumble across it and they don't know much about fragrance. Anyone that kind of knows something about fragrance is not wearing Dreamer. It just, there's no allure to it today. Frank, it's time to go night night, buddy. You have a great night, buddy. Mom told you to go to bed an hour ago, buddy. What's going on, bro? Oh, Brian, what's good, man? Good to see you, man. How you been? I think your package gets to you. I sent you the tracking on it, but the lady told me like early next week, so maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, you should be getting your stuff, man. You might even get it earlier. You might even get it like Monday. Do you think I got scammed? It was 55 USD. Um, 55 is a little steep. I think the lowest you could pay for 100 ml of Eros right now is about 35.40 after tax. So you might have got a little bit scalped, but I mean, for $55 for 100 ml, Eros is the best fragrance out of Flame and Energy in terms of versatility. Um, so even $55 like per ml, it's 55 still a heck of a deal. But that definitely is not the lowest you could have paid. That fragrance on almost any discounter online right now is going for like 35 bucks before shipping. So you could have got it cheaper, but it ain't the end of the world, man. Trust me, I pay surplus on fragrances all the time. It just depends what you want to do. Why did your water bottle beep? Um, because it's hydrogen water. You pour your water in this and you guys see that timer? So you see those bubbles? It's pumping hydrogen into the water and it puts it on a 10-minute timer. So once that timer hits 0, it'll beep again. It initially beeped because I double pressed it so it would activate, and then it's gonna beep one more time to let me know that it's ready to be drank. Is Mancera Instant Love? Oh, Mantra Instant Love, similar to Mancera Instant Crush? No. I think Maison Alhambra has the closest Mancera dupe, or it might even be Fragrance World. But I'm gonna be honest, man. Even though I don't wear, I mean, I have Instant Crush. It's a little young money for me. Uh, Instant Crush is a fragrance you shouldn't really dupe, in my opinion. You should just buy it because you can get it now for $70, $80. It's 120 ml, which is insane considering it retails around 200. There's really no reason why you don't buy the original. And I'm a guy who buys a ton of clones. You know, you can see them behind me. But Instant Crush for a young person under 30 is such a signature DNA that you really don't want to go too cheap on it because then you kind of miss out on the luxury side of it. A lot of the clones of Instant Crush, you get the boy toy feel, but you don't get the luxury with it. So my opinion is just suck up, spend the 70 to 80 bucks on the 120 ml and call it a day. I wouldn't really go. Instant Crush is not a DNA I would buy a clone for. Why no Moustache? A Moustache isn't really my type of DNA. For me, Halloween Man Shot beats that DNA. Lamal Elixir beats that DNA. Shoot, even Assad beats that DNA. There's one, Tuxedo beats that DNA. So there's just no reason to get Moustache or Rokas Moustache or whatever. It's a good fragrance, but a lot of times you guys don't hang out with a lot of women. So you don't really have a lot of date night occasions. So you're going to wear it on a date night or when you're trying to hit on women, very circumstantially, and that bottle is going to stay full to the max. And then by the time you do start wearing it, you're going to be bored of the DNA because it's so basic that you're going to want to upgrade and get something better. In terms of that vanillic cinnamon DNA, there's just so many other fragrances, designer, clone, and niche that just obliterate Moustache. Moustache is really a entry level date night fragrance for a fragrance enthusiast. Mancera Red Tobacco, I'm not a fan of at all. In fact, to me, every clone of Red Tobacco is like 90% close to Red Tobacco. So I just think Red Tobacco is not even a DNA worth spending more than 20 bucks on. You know, just get the clone, you'll smell just like it. Now, if you like the Red Tobacco DNA, but you want a far better fragrance, get Prada Luna Rosa, Prada Luna Rosa, Prada Luna Rosa Le Parfum. It's got a red glass top on it. It looks just like Prada Luna Rosa Ocean, Prada Luna Rosa Black, except for the top of the glass is red. Prada Luna Rosa Le Parfum. That has a Red Tobacco DNA, but it smells way more luxurious and less cheap. Red Tobacco is really a one-dimensional two-tone fragrance. It smells like red, you know, kind of like your red Wrigley's cinnamon gum and a synthetic tobacco. That's all it smells like. So clones are able to clone that DNA so quickly. So it's better to just get a clone if you like Red Tobacco. But if you like that DNA and you want a better version of it, Prada Luna Rosa Le Parfum is where you want to go. That's the starting point to a red and tobacco type of fragrance. So that's my recommendation. And you really can't get a clone for Red Tobacco, even though I'm telling you to get the clone over the original, because of the synthetics used to get the red note and the tobacco note. You really need better ingredients. So that's why I always recommend you move to designer and go, you know, surprisingly, even though Mancera is considered like entry-level niche, Red Tobacco still smells synthetic. It's complex, it's detailed. Synthetic isn't always bad, but it smells undesirably synthetic to me. So if you go the Prada route, step into designer, it surprisingly smells way more niche than the Red Tobacco, which is odd. But Prada fragrances are priced at the same price point as Mancera from a discounter perspective, not from a retail MSRP level. I found Dylan Blue on Joma Shop. It's 40 for 100 ml, but only 60 for a 6.7. I love Dylan Blue. Should I get the 6.7? No, I wouldn't. I know you say you love Dylan Blue, but the reality is if you have a 200 ml of Dylan Blue, it's going to last you years. And in 4 or 5 years, will Dylan Blue be your choice, versatile, everyday wear? Probably not. You're probably going to graduate from that fragrance. You're going to move on. There's a ton of fragrances, Mont Blanc Legend Spirit, Bleu de Chanel. When you move into niche, you have fragrances like, um, in, in the blue category, you have so many. I mean, you have Salvador Ferragamo's Blue Essential Blue. Bleu de Chanel smokes it. Um, you start moving up into fragrances like Sedley from Parfums de Marly, um, uh, Bulgari Tigar, Elysium from Roja. Um, there's really a lot. I mean, almost the entire Chanel exclusive line. You have Galloway. You have, I mean, there's just so many more interesting fragrances than Dylan Blue that if you're going to pay 60, you might as well just pay the 100 and you'll have a much more niche fragrance. For me, Dylan Blue, spend the 40, get the 3.4. That fragrance is going to last you years. But as small as the $20 difference may seem, it's going to be better spent on a better fragrance. Dylan Blue, as versatile as it is, every year that goes by, Dylan Blue becomes more nostalgic and more common and more played out. And in the fragrance enthusiast world, Dylan Blue is most certainly played out. It's still a great fragrance, but it's played out. So again, the more years that go by, we're in a fragrance boom right now. New people are getting into fragrance every single day. The more people are finding out how common things like Mont Blanc Legend Spirit is, Dylan Blue, Versace, Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue, Versace Pour Homme. And so you just start becoming common. And I mean, shoot, even Bleu de Chanel is becoming played out. And it's crazy because no woman would ever not like a man to smell like Bleu de Chanel. Bleu de Chanel is timeless. No matter how played out it is in the fragrance world, it still has the highest compliment factor next to um, Versace Eros. So, but again, it comes down to, will Bleu de Chanel still be timeless in 4 or 5 years from now? Probably not. I know we think it will because it's been so timeless for so long, but I really do think we're in a crazy boom now where everybody's getting exposed to fragrance at such a high rate that that DNA, even though it's classy and it's amazing, will become boring. My uncle gave me Versace Dreamer before he passed. I was in high school, so it's a nostalgic frag. Now, listen, man, I have a Versace Dreamer as well. And the only reason I carry it from, the late 90s is because of nostalgia as well. Does that mean I'm going to recommend it to somebody to buy as a current great option for fragrances? No. Again, for guys like us who remember a time where Versace Dreamer was a thing, or we have a distant memory with it, we might spray it in the air or put it on once a year, if that. But the reality is like, somebody asked me in the chat, should I think about Versace Dreamer in 2025? The answer is no. You know what I'm saying? But that's just IMO. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, again, it's really not about whether or not Versace Dreamer is a good fragrance. It's about, should somebody in today's market, would they rather pay $30 for Dreamer or $30 for the hundreds of other options that you have in that wheelhouse? Versace Dreamer to me is in the wheelhouse of Cedrat Boisé, Coromandel, those type of smells. It's a much cheaper version of those, but it's in that wheelhouse, and I just can't think of the cheaperness version that Dreamer comes off as. I can't see. Put it this way, Coromandel and Cedrat Boisé is not a young man's fragrance, and so for that same reason, Dreamer will never be a young man's fragrance. It was an older man's fragrance when I first heard of it. So it's, if an older gentleman came to me today and asked me, it just wouldn't work in any case. Dreamer, is a vintage nostalgia fragrance now, and it will always be. No one will get a fresh wearing experience with a lot of joy and happiness wearing that fragrance today, I don't think. They said Tuesday, but I think it'll be here early. Thanks, bro. Just let me know what you need. I got you. Hey, listen, Brian, you don't owe me anything, bro. You don't owe me anything. Again, when I reached out and did that, I didn't expect anything in return. If I think of something, I'll let you know. But for now, just enjoy your fragrances, bro. I really appreciate you wanting to return the favor. I'm just curious to see what you think about those fragrances, bro. I really hope you enjoy them. Thoughts on Amouage Reflection, man. Thing about Amouage and Xerjoff is you got to be careful because Amouage and Xerjoff don't make mass appealing fragrances. They make very unique, very off the beaten path type of fragrances. Their fragrances can smell amazing, but for very particular individuals who like certain vibes and are going for particular notes, they're fragrances that strike curiosity, intrigue, allure, mystery, uniqueness. And because of that, you know, if I went to a Roja table and I smelled the entire Roja line, even if I didn't like certain Rojas, I would probably rate most Roja fragrances an 8 or 9 or higher. But as somebody new to the Xerjoff and Amouage line, there's going to be many fragrances that you smell that are going to be a 5 or less to you. Not because they're not quality and amazing fragrances, but because they're going to be so off-putting to you, either because of a particular note or just a DNA style that you're just so unfamiliar with. They really play and are not going with traditional DNAs. And even when they are, they're putting nuance to it that's really crazy. So Reflection Man is not for everybody. Um, it's an amazing fragrance for some. It's a terrible fragrance for others. It's that polarizing. I enjoy it in the air, but Reflection Man is not my tea. It doesn't go well on my skin for my vibe, my age, my swag, all that. I was wondering about the lives. Good to see you're back. You know, I'm not even supposed to be live tonight. I just because I'm somewhat more coherent, I wanted to just get on here and say what's up to you guys. Instant Crush is 70. That's easy work. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there are solid Instant Crush clones, but again, I think for that particular DNA, when you go with a clone, you sacrifice the expensive smell. You know, there's a hold on a second. You know, when you smell Instant Crush, um, there's a kind of how much do I have of this left? I got a good amount left. Instant Crush, most clones get about 90% of the way there. And normally, if a fragrance is like 85 to 90% or better, I'd always recommend the clone over the original. But there's just some DNAs where it's just worth paying the extra dollar. Instant Crush is one of them. Instant Crush has a certain kind of expensive, preppy, um, expensive smell in the background that makes the fragrance, even in its playful, candied approach, still smell like you have money. Um, it's like upscale boy toy, right? And when you go with the clone, they get the boy toy playful, sweet, candied feel, but they don't get that background kind of carbonated, luxurious, posh, preppy, expensive feel to it. Um, and you really need that because without it, it feels like you're wearing a clone fragrance, you know, just boy toy sweet candy. It borderline goes Bath and Body Works. So for me, you're gonna spend 30, 40 bucks on an Instant Crush clone. You should have just doubled that up. And then again, the great thing about Instant Crush is there really should be no argument about it because you get 120 ml. That is probably some of the best $70 spent period. Now, Instant Crush isn't my tea. You know, I'm gonna go with Pearl. I'm gonna go with Jardine exclusive from Mancera if I want to go for that romantic flair. But I'm a 36-year-old man. You know what I'm saying? You know, I've been with my wife 15 years. I'm not a single bachelor out here crushing on young women. So it doesn't really fit my narrative. But for the younger guys, you have 120 ml fragrance of some niche perfumery. That's basically the price of 2.5 clones. And you're gonna wear that fragrance every day. Anytime you're with girls, anytime you're at a party, anytime you're doing nightlife, you're gonna wear Instant Crush. It's gonna be a go-to. It's gonna be so versatile, any season, any reason. So for me, it's like, I mean, shoot, you could wear that as like a casual little crush joint. So at the end of the day, you're gonna have 3 clones on your shelf. That Mancera Instant Crush will take out 90% of your collection if you're a clone guy. You know what I'm saying? Off the bat. So pay the 70 and get 120 ml, man. You're basically getting like two fragrances. And it's, you know, in the niche world for younger people, Instant Crush is like Versace Eros to the designer world. I mean, you're just always gonna win. I love Bath and Body Works Risky Reserve, except it only lasts like 3 hours. It has notes of Chris Apple, blah 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 blah. Blah. That's one similar, but that would give it a better performance. Okay. I picked up 100 ml of Versace Eros EDP tester locally for 50 bucks. They had 100 ml Eros EDT. Oh, you got the EDP. Same thing, bro. I always recommend that people get the EDT because it's cheaper because it came out first and there's not enough of a difference between EDT, EDP, and Parfum. Obviously, the best smelling one to me as an older man is the Parfum. Eros EDP Parfum is the best one out of the 3, obviously. But it's not enough of a better compared to the other 2 to where you shouldn't just pay the lowest price for the most juice. And since the EDT came out first, EDTs are always cheaper than EDPs and parfums. But when you're talking prices lower than $50, if the $50 EDP is what you wanted, then, you know, Eros is one of the unique fragrances where as you actually go up in concentrate, you go down in performance. So to me, the EDT is the best performing, but they're all 3 relatively long lasting. Like all 3 are going to get you north of 8 hours, and then some of them hit 10. But once you're that high, it's like, who cares? Has anyone whiffed the new Azzaro? No, not me. Yo, Scent Bubble, have you smelled Gucci Guilty Love Edition yet? No, the only thing I put my nose on recently was Gucci Guilty Elixir, and I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. The Oris in that is insane. Yeah, I saw that. I saw you rocking Seraphim Blue, Joel. Salute. That Seraphim Blue goes nice, man. Beautiful fragrance. French. Honestly, French Riviera, if you've never smelled Mancera, the first time you smell French Riviera, you're going to be like, oh my gosh. But then once you start smelling Vetiver Sensual, Instant Crush, Cedrat Boisé Intense, Jardine Exclusive, Pearl, Amour Cafe, you're going to think that fragrance is trash. French Riviera is no good in my book. It's not worth the money. Roca Sloan Blue Bottle Banger, okay. Aqua Essenzial or Aqua Essenzial Blue. Honestly, you don't lose getting a Essenzial or Essenzial Blue, Henry, but most people would tell you that Essenzial Blue is the slightly better fragrance, just slightly. So I would encourage Essenzial Blue, but I do really like Essenzial Original as well. They're both phenomenal fragrances. Scent Bubble, it's okay to let the chat know that PDM Galloway is your choice over Mont Blanc Legend Spirit. No, no, bro. Honestly, that's not even a battle. I actually don't even recommend Mont Blanc Legend Spirit to anybody because even though it's Dylan Blue, Mont Blanc Legend Spirit, Explorer, all that stuff, you know, it's like a tier of fragrances people always recommend, Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue and all that stuff. I don't recommend that to people because even though it's like you can't go wrong with it, it's like really boring designer level stuff everybody and their mom has smelled. So for me, the real contest is Galloway versus Lalique White. And again, it's better, you know. Galloway is a little bit better. But you know, I will say this. It's only better in the sense of two things. One, the performance, and two, the nuance. This goes heavier in the tamarind, pepper, bergamot in a very clean, soapy way that Galloway doesn't touch. Galloway has more of a sweetness to it. It's more of a freshy with an undercurrent of seductive class to it. It's got a seductive, sweet undertone to it. It's very light, but put it this way, Galloway didn't make me love Lalique White less, but it made me appreciate the sweet direction as opposed to the tart pepper direction. But I do think if somebody was comparing Galloway to White, I would have to push them towards Galloway. But it's kind of not saying much, because when you look at the fact that this is a $20 fragrance versus a $300 fragrance, it's like, what did you expect? You know what I'm saying? Lalique White still plays a pivotal role in somebody who doesn't want to go with a freshy class allure fragrance because they don't want to pay $200-$300 for that type of DNA. You know, I think that's not talked about enough. Like, one thing I'd love to talk with Suits and Scents about is just the fact that, like, there's some DNAs I want niche for, and then there's some DNAs that I don't want niche for, because it's like there's so many great options below it. And I also like certain DNAs I prefer to be simple, and then certain DNAs I prefer to be complex. But yeah, Galloway is an incredible fragrance. I'm really glad that you showed that to me, because it showed me a different side of this DNA that's really just as special. And now I have another fragrance in that kind of white category to push people to say, hey, when you want to go even more dense and you want to take a little bit off the clean direction and go into a little bit more allure, but still like soapy clean, but alluring and a little bit more depth, Galloway is a phenomenal option, man. Galloway was really special. I really enjoyed that fragrance. I like, to the point where it's like Galloway might be in my top 4 now for Parfums de Marly. I have such an odd top 4 because I don't go Herod, Percival, or Hercules. My Parfums de Marly bag is different, bro. Like, it almost feels generic compared to everybody else's. I'm going Wajan. I'm going Carlisle. I'm going Sedley. I'm going Galloway. Yeah, that's it. I'm not a fan of Pegasus. I'm not a fan of Leighton. I'm not a fan of Herod, Percival, or is it Hercules? Herod, Percival, Haltane, not a fan. And like, I'm naming all the fragrances that are like people's favorites. Gourmand or Freshies, what do you prefer? Freshies. Actually, yeah. If all I had was Gourmand or Freshies, I'm going Freshies. But that's a terrible comparison. You should never compare Freshies to Gourmand. It's like, Gourmands are occasion-based fragrances. Freshies are lifestyle fragrances. You know what I'm saying? So that's almost like comparing crocheting to like basketball. It's like, how do you even begin to assess the value? So it's like, I'm picking Freshies just because I prefer to wear lifestyle fragrances over occasion-based fragrances, but it's like, you don't have to, so why? I see, the thing about me is I love gourmand fragrances, but I don't like true gourmand fragrances. I like fragrances that tease the idea of gourmand, but actually are forward in something else and background in gourmand. That's more interesting to me as a concept than just smelling like baked goods or sweets or food. You know what I'm saying? Like, even with something like citruses, like people wouldn't consider citruses gourmand, but it's edible, right? So there are certain citruses that make you feel like they tiptoe into gourmand category. Like for instance, Carlisle with the apple, you know, red apple and green apple are commonly used in a spice vanillic way. So they're kind of tickling the idea of gourmand. Um, but even then, I don't really like my citruses. I don't like my grapefruit to smell like grapefruit. I don't like my orange to smell like orange. I don't like my lemon to smell like lemon. I like to smell the other parts of the lemon, like the rind, the subduedness. I like to get the sense of citrus, not, hey, here's a giant watermelon in my face. You know what I'm saying? So I have like a different conceptual approach to how I like certain notes rendered to me. I'm gonna be drinking a lot of water tonight. As you guys can see, my voice now, my voice is like coming back. The more I talk, the more it like tries to leave. I was looking at the notes on Beverly. Dylan Blue is still a banger. I mean, Santana, here's the thing, bro. It's not that Dylan Blue isn't a banger, but Dylan Blue looks like a Honda Accord next to a BMW. If you and me walk up to a girl and you're wearing Dylan Blue, and I mean, let's go like low grade, like let's go to where I'm almost kind of close to you in a sense. Say you're wearing Dylan Blue and I'm wearing Blue de Chanel. I'm gonna blow you out of the water. She's not even gonna. You're gonna ask for her number and she's gonna say no, and then you're gonna say, well, do you have Instagram? And she's gonna lie to you and tell you I don't use social media. And that's just at the Blue de Chanel level, which is basically almost eye to eye with Dylan Blue. But like if I pull up and I'm wearing like, let's just pick any fragrance in that wheelhouse. If I roll up wearing Gentleman's Society from Givenchy and you're wearing Dylan Blue, I'm gonna annihilate you. If I'm wearing Dior Sauvage, Elixir, I'm gonna annihilate you. If I'm wearing, I mean, any fragrance, dude. If I'm wearing Dior Homme Sport or Dior Homme Cologne, I'm gonna annihilate you. She's gonna say, "Who's your friend?" You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a synthetic that comes with Dylan Blue that any more natural, slightly more sophisticated fragrance than it will annihilate it. We haven't even gone to niche. Okay. I'm literally just naming designer fragrances that blow that out of the water. Um, I mean, God, I mean, there's so many better fragrances than Dylan Blue right now. Dylan Blue, Dylan Blue, Dolce and Gabbana Light Blue Oh Intense, Versace Pour Homme, Mont Blanc Explorer, all these fragrances. It's like a lazy man's fragrance. It's like if you only have two fragrances and that's all you're ever gonna wear, okay, you're gonna smell like a slightly above average individual, but like that's it. That's literally it. The only way you're gonna smell good is to women who don't normally smell people with fragrances on. But a woman who's like, yeah, I like my man to wear a fragrance, or I wanna smell a good smelling man. Any Dylan Blue gets played out next to anyone wearing another fragrance other than Dylan Blue. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I'm saying even at like a Blue de Chanel level, they're both priced the same. Blue de Chanel on a man is gonna annihilate Dylan Blue. So it's like, why would you ever wear Dylan Blue? You could wear Blue de Chanel and call it a day. To me, There should never even be a conversation about Mont Blanc Legend Spirit or Dylan Blue, because even though those are great fragrances, the fact that Bleu de Chanel is at the same price point and it kills those fragrances in versatility, in class, in agelessness, in sex appeal. Like, just buy Bleu de Chanel, any level of it, toilette, parfum, eau de parfum, and that guy will smell better than the Dylan Blue, the Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue, the Versace Pour Homme. Those guys are gonna look like weenies compared to Bleu de Chanel. And we haven't even really started getting into that's why I started naming random fragrances. Like, if I'm wearing Gentleman's Society, I'm gonna smoke you. If I'm wearing Dior Homme Cologne, I'm gonna smoke you. If I'm wearing Dior Homme Sport, I'm gonna smoke you. If I'm wearing Dior Sauvage Elixir, I'm gonna smoke you. If I'm wearing Gucci Guilty Elixir, I'm gonna smoke you. Yeah, I'm just gonna smell like I have a million times more dimension. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same price. So yeah, if you're wearing Dylan Blue, you might get her number if she doesn't see another man walk past her. But the next fragrance she smells, she's erasing your number from her phone. She's gonna go, "Oh wow, I deserve better." Thanks, Kicks. Um, Reflection Man just smells like a better Jean Paul Gaultier original to me. Yeah, that's a stretch, Nick. You're valid in how you feel about that, bro. But calling Reflection Man Jean Paul Gaultier is blasphemous on any level. Uh, you know, I mean, if go into Neiman Marcus and grab the Reflection Man and tell the Amouage rep, "Oh wow, this kind of reminds me of Jean Paul Gaultier." He will snatch the fragrance out of your hand and tell you to have a good day. He doesn't need to hear anything else. You got your hands on any Argos? If you asked me that about 10 hours ago, I would say no. But Kix Griffey in the chat is sending me Argos, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought that was in the pack, Kix. Which, by the way, if you are, thank you so much again for sending that to me. Yo, do you have an example of a woody vanilla fragrance? Yeah, absolutely. Billy Bagel, how old are you though? Because that's going to determine what I recommend. Hey, Scent Bubble, I'm in high school. Dude, you don't have to tell me you're in high school, Jigaboo. You're in my lives every night. I know who you are. I don't have any money to spend on cologne because I played 3 sports. I love Instant Crush, and you don't have to. But if you don't like it, then I would love for you. Could you send me yours? Listen, Jigaboo. For one, no. Hard no. For two, I know you have fragrances. Number one, because I've seen your collection. And number two, because I see you in every chat talking about fragrances that you're going to buy. So you might be in high school, you might not have a lot of money, you might not have a job, but you have fragrances. And you have no problem getting fragrances. So maybe what you need to do is stop thinking about a bunch of fragrances and just save up your money and get one great fragrance. Because I think the issue you have is you're cheap. And so you spend cheap money on cheap fragrances and you have 20 fragrances that are okay. And you need to just consolidate all that and just get Instant Crush and start there. You will have a fragrance that you love wearing in high school. Then you wait till Christmas. You say, "Mom, I want you to get me Versace. Mom, I want Versace Eros EDT and I want Bleu de Chanel." And then in 1 year, you have 2 fragrances. It'll cost her less than $100 to get you those 2. And now you have blue. I mean, honestly, this is the starter kit if you're in high school. You don't need to worry about getting a woman. You don't need to worry about going to a funeral. You don't need to worry about playing sports. If you have Versace Eros EDT, Bleu de Chanel, I don't care what version you get, Versace Eros EDT, Bleu de Chanel, and maybe something like Instant Crush, you don't need anything else. Okay? You have your fresh, versatile fragrance in Bleu de Chanel, any occasion, any season. You smell classy, you smell expensive, you smell sexy. You have your classy, fresh, but slightly seductive date night fragrance in Eros. But what's great about Eros is just as versatile as Bleu de Chanel. You could dress it down, but with the apple and vanilla, you could dress it up and be sexy. But then when you want your showstopper fragrance that's gonna get you all the women, then you could bust out Instant Crush. You really don't need anything else. And we're talking Instant Crush right now is $70. Eros is 35. So now you're at 105. And then Bleu de Chanel you could probably get for like 50. So we're literally talking about like $150, $170, and you have 3 fragrances for life. And I know you've spent more than $170 on your cheap fragrance collection because I've seen it. So really what it comes down to is you're buying cheap fragrances and you're getting bored with them quick because you're a high school kid, you have low attention span, and you're buying clones, so you can only be so happy for so long. Get the expensive fragrances and call it a day. I promise you, Bleu de Chanel, Eros EDT, and Instant Crush, and you will be the man. And you could be the man for as long as you want to be the man. You could take those 3 fragrances into college and still beat out 90% of anyone in any of your classes. Those 3 fragrances right there will take you to the age 25 and you will win every. Now you need game. The intangibles that I can't teach you is I can't teach you how to talk to a woman. I can't teach you how to lift weights. I can't teach you how to stop playing Xbox and get a job. But as long as you take care of those 3 things and you have those 3 fragrances, you will be unstoppable until you're 25 years old, minimum. Cosmic Pepper is not all that solo, in my opinion. SB, I mess with you on that Mont Blanc. Oh, I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you. Lalique White is such a steal for the price. It really is, man. It really is. Hey, brother, do you recommend Bulgari to me a few weeks back? Love it. Thank you. I'm an older gentleman creeping up on 40. Can you give me a good summer parfum? My girl likes Aqua di Gio, Parfum, and Percival. Oh, I recommended Bulgari Man in Black. So that's this. If this is the fragrance I recommended to you, let me know, do you enjoy it? I really like to know if my recommendations, not only did you like it, but like which one it was and if you enjoyed it. Um, can you give me a good, see, this is a man who's been in my chat before. Tells me his age. Perfect. Can you give me a good summer parfum? My girl likes Aqua di Gio, Parfum, and Percival. Okay, so she likes that on you. Yeah, I mean, at the designer level, Bleu de Chanel Parfum immediately stands out to me. It may sound generic for me to recommend that, but it's truly not a generic recommendation. It's very hard to beat at the designer level. Aqua Essenziale by Salvatore Ferragamo, Aqua Essenziale Blue, not Aqua Essenziale regular. Aqua Essenziale Blue is a phenomenal choice at the designer level. Summer. Those are very hard to beat at the entry level. Even Givenchy Gentleman's Society, which you want to go into a Sephora or an Ulta Beauty and smell all 3 of those. Gucci Guilty Elixir is a steal for summer category, and it'll be versatile any season, any reason as well. Gucci Guilty Elixir green bottle is phenomenal. Chanel Allure Homme Sport also comes to my mind at the designer level. If you want to creep up into the $100 category, some things open up for you. Just give me a minute. I need to sit with that. When you're dealing with 40-year-old men, it's a little bit of a different category. See, you're not quite at the niche price point yet. You're not quite at the niche price point. If you could spend like 150 or up, which I'm sure you could, you're 40 years old, but I'm just saying it seems as if you're asking me for affordable recommendations. So those are great options. Diorome Cologne, Diorome Sport is going to be a great option for you. Yeah, man. Okay, so go to a Sephora or an Ulta Beauty and get your nose to fragrances like Gucci Guilty Elixir, which is a green bottle. Um, get your nose on, oh my gosh, what was the fragrance? Oh yeah, get your nose on Diorome Cologne, Diorome Sport, Gucci Guilty Elixir, and Bleu de Chanel Parfum. And start there and let me know what you think about that. You can find my Instagram on my videos and reach out to me after you've smelled those. If you feel comfortable enough to pull the trigger on one of those three, they're all three phenomenal. Um, if you are liking and not liking something about those three, then DM me on Instagram. I can throw you on a call and we could talk through that and I can recommend you some more upper tier stuff. But those are very top tier for 40-year-old. I like to me on a 40-year-old man, Gucci Guilty Elixir is gonna be your woman's gonna be all over you for sure. For a summer frag. Again, you're not looking for something insanely seductive as much as you're just looking for something that smells expensive, gives you that man prowess, that has some complexity to it, and just is like a sexy classy, you know? Um, so yeah, look into Diorome Sport, Diorome Cologne, and Bleu de Chanel Parfum, and Gucci Guilty Elixir, and start there. Because honestly, those are four incredible bangers. Not sure if I'm going nose blind to Percival, but only seem to be getting 2 hours of longevity. Yeah, you're going blind. Hey, listen, Nick, you might get compliments wearing Versace Dreamer, but again, it's the same conversation as the other one. If dude, if I walk past you, if you and me walk up to a girl and you're wearing Dreamer and I'm wearing anything else from Sephora, you're not getting your number. You're just not. Like, and I'm not even, we can go cheap, man. Like, if I'm wearing Bentley Black Edition, you're screwed. If I'm wearing Ferragamo bright leather, you're screwed. If I'm wearing Aqua Essenzial, you're screwed. I mean, shoot, if I'm wearing Nautica Voyage, you're screwed. Like, bro, I'm just telling you, man. Dream again, the fact that you can get compliments with a fragrance isn't saying much because it's not about getting compliments. It's about anyone. Listen, you could be with a homeless woman, right? And your clothes could be ripped to shreds and you could smell like a bagel and you could get that homeless woman, right? Because in her eyes, you still look valuable. But if I walk up just dressed like this to a homeless woman, I'm getting her every time because I'm giving her an experience she doesn't have. If you pull up in Dreamer, it is the equivalent of a homeless man versus a well-dressed man. The DNA is like, yes, you could smell great, but it's all about what you smell great next to. And there are so many DNAs that are more timeless and just as cheap than Dreamer. I mean, look at it this way, right? You go to I'm being a little bit blasphemous because Dreamer is a great fragrance, right? Like I have it. It's nostalgic, right? Um, I'm being a little bit blasphemous because I'm trying to speak to a point and I'm just not making a very good point. So I'm just going to kind of pivot. Okay, so I'm going to let this dry down because it smells terrible. But you go into a TJ Maxx, right? And they're going to have Dreamer for $20. But what else are they going to have in that capsule that will beat out Dreamer? They're going to have and this is just at TJ Maxx. They're going to have Salvatore Ferragamo F Black. They're going to have Salvatore Ferragamo red leather. They're going to have Salvatore Ferragamo bright leather. They're going to have Toy Boy. They're going to have Versace Eros EDT. They're going to have Banana Republic, Arctic Slate, Metal Rain. They're going to have Versace Pour Homme, Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue. They're going to have, I mean, everything that I've named so far beats Dreamer. It's just more modern. It's just more 2025, right? And those are all trash fragrances to me. But they certainly in today's world would beat out Dreamer because Dreamer just has a nostalgic oldness to it. It's a good fragrance, but anyone wearing fragrance next to you will smell better than you. It's just a fact. Now, granted, fragrances don't make people. People make fragrances, right? So in one, like, I don't care who you are. You want to see if you have game? Walk up to the sexiest girl you know wearing this fragrance and get a number. If you can do that, you make fragrances. Fragrances don't make you. Okay? So this smells good enough to where if I walk up with Nautica Voyage on, I make it smell like Sedley. I'll make Nautica Voyage feel like Creta Ventus. If I walk up, I'm going to make the chick think I'm wearing Chanel's Coral Mandel. If I walk up, I'll make Nautica Blue feel like Tom Ford's Oud Wood. It's just, and it's important to say that because as much as I'm talking about Dreamer, the man makes the fragrance. Like I'll give you for instance, if you're a cornball and you're wearing Bleu de Chanel, Bleu de Chanel's not going to get you the number. There's going to be a disconnect, right? If I'm a good-looking man and I've got a good mouthpiece, you know what I'm saying? I know how to talk a good game. I'm authentic, you know what I'm saying? I've got my priorities together. I'm a man. A woman is going to have a certain level of optimism with whatever she smells on me. So if it smells like Nautica Voyage, if I've got the swag and the eloquence and the charm, she no longer smells Nautica Voyage. She feels like she's with a man that's wearing Bleu de Chanel, Sedley, Oud Wood, Galloway, Leighton, Instant Crush. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there is a sense of like, let me say this. I'm a very conceptual person, so this isn't about like bragging, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm out the game, guys. I got the most beautiful wife in the world, and I've been with her for 15 years. I'm out the game. You know what I'm saying? When I recommend fragrances and things like that, I have to draw from past experiences and connect today's dots to past experiences. I'm not out messing around with a bunch of girls. I'm not turning over every rock. You know what I'm saying? I don't play on sports teams anymore. I'm not a bachelor anymore. I'm not going to the club every week anymore. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going off expertise from the past and connecting the dots with my nose now and trying to make educated guesses for you guys. But the reality is when I was growing up from age 12 to about 24 till I graduated from college, I only wore like 4 fragrances because I just did not know anything about fragrance. I went to the mall to get a fragrance, and fragrances lasted me forever. I didn't know what overspray was. I wore Acqua di Gio Armani Eau de Toilette frosted white bottle. I wore Nautica Blue. I wore Givenchy Play. I wore Gucci Guilty Original. And I wore this bottle. and this is an original bottle from the 90s. Marc Jacobs by Marc Jacobs. Okay? That's it. Back then, those fragrances costed, $100 a piece. They were designer, okay, cool. Not all of them. But in today's world, those fragrances are very, 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 very generic. And they weren't that crazy back then. They weren't niche. They only costed, 40 to 70 bucks in a mall. Anybody had access to them. But I did damage with those fragrances. So, we talk about sophistication and class and seductiveness and allure and intrigue and complexity and simplicity and layer and projection and longevity. And we talk about all these fancy terms. But the bottom line is you really don't need more than you already have. There's probably things you need to be working on a lot more in your character than what's the next fragrance you're going to use. For instance, are you in shape? Do you take care of your body? Are you healthy? Are you an eloquent speaker? Can you move in different circles? Can you hold a conversation with a woman? Do your friends care about you? Do they speak highly of your character? Do you work hard? Those are the unspoken intangibles that make fragrances look way sexier than they are at face value. And when you start to learn that, you can start to pick fragrances based off of not what is everybody else talking about, but what fragrance just goes with me and how I want to feel. Because regardless of what I'm wearing, I could get that girl. I could get that job. I could get those friends. I could live this lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? I'd still go to that gym. And it just puts an energy into a fragrance that just makes the fragrance is, what am I saying, guys? The fragrance is like 1/4 of the puzzle. And if you don't account for the other areas of the puzzle, the fragrance feels out of place or it feels less than it already is. Now, granted, there's things like panty dropper fragrances, but if a fragrance alone ever drops panties, the girl was weak. You aimed too low. Because no real woman that you actually want to get is dropping panties off a fragrance. Period. And if she does, she was already for the streets. You know what I'm saying? If she did that for you and your fragrance, she was doing that for that guy and his money, for that guy in his car, for that dude in the food he gave, for that librarian. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like the type of women I was going after in high school and in college, I would have never got off of a fragrance alone. Ever. Ever. And I just say all that to say that, we talk about all this stuff with fragrance, but there are actually a lot of incredible fragrances, including all the ones I took a crap on, like Dylan Blue, Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue, and stuff like that, that can seriously still do damage today. But if you're a cornball, then wearing those more entry-level fragrances make you look even more of a cornball. And that's what I don't want to see. That's why I ask about things like age. What kind of job do you have? Because I don't want to give you a fragrance that you would look unqualified to wear. That's a travesty. There are even some guys out there who should not even be wearing Instant Crush because they have no game. They don't even know how to crush. So would they think the Instant Crush is going to crush for them? And then they still don't get the numbers, but they got 100 compliments that night, but didn't get with one girl because they have no game anyway. It's like, bro, you might have actually got more numbers wearing the Nautica Voyage because you would have smelt how you actually felt. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. I'm talking crazy. Only PDM I would get is Sedley. I really do believe that if anyone got into Parfums de Marly, Sedley is the starting point. It's the most versatile without question. You like Jazz Club? No. In fact, if you want Jazz Club, here's a cheaper alternative. Liam Gray, where are you? This is Jazz Club right here, and you can get it for 20 bucks. Let me turn the camera. Liam Gray from Latafa. No one on the internet is going to tell you this but me. This is Jazz Club. Replica fragrances are blasphemous because even though some smell okay, they should never be priced at $70 to $120. That is blasphemous. They are expensive smelling water at best. Even if you pick, I already got to queue up some more water because my voice. Even if you talk By the Fireplace or Woodstock or Jazz Club or By the Lemon Tree or Sale Day, I don't care which one you pick that you like. None of those DNAs smell worthy of $70 or higher. So absolutely, in my opinion, is Jazz Club a DNA that smells okay? Sure. Does it smell like it's worth $100? Never. Never. And for that reason, if I can give you an alternative, I always will, because to me, the entire replica line should sell for $30 or $40 at the highest. If they were at the $30 or $40 price point, then I would really enjoy going over this review right here and saying, okay, these are the fragrances that you should pick up from the line because they're totally worth it. But I can't recommend a single fragrance from this list because I don't believe any of these DNAs smell like they're worth 70 or 80 or 90 or 100 or 110 or $120. I just can't. I got to just keep it real with you guys. But yes, Liam Gray is $20 on any discounter, and you will have Jazz Club in 100 ml for $20. And this is an absolute steal. My boy had Sauvage Elixir, I had Hawass on, and I was pulling more than him. There you go. Johnny 5, pulling the chicks. I just got in some new fragrances I want to wear. What do you think about them? Okay, so I got Valentino Uomo Intense Beautiful. Then I got Polo RL. Okay. Yeah. And then I got Versace Eros. The Polo I can do with or without, but it's still a good fragrance. The best fragrance you have out of that collection, without question, is the most versatile for you is going to be Eros. That's going to be your everyday, and the Uomo Intense is going to be what you bust out to be a little bit more sexy because the iris. But good picks. Good picks, Ari. I still need to buy Dylan Blue, Bleu de Chanel, Dior Sauvage EDT. Honestly, if you have Bleu de Chanel, don't buy Dylan Blue. It's a waste of money. It's redundant. Dior Sauvage is cool. What do I think about that? What do I think about that? What do I think about that? I'm going to do you one better. Ditch Dylan Blue. Still get Bleu de Chanel. I don't care which one you get. Eau de Toilette, Eau de Parfum, whichever. They all smell phenomenal. Get the Bleu de Chanel, ditch the Dylan Blue, and instead of Dior Sauvage EDT, get Armaf Peugeot 1. Why do I say that? I say that because I feel like as a person, it's going to be very generic of you to bounce between Bleu de Chanel and Dior Sauvage Elixir. You have two extremely common DNAs. And if you're somebody who wears Bleu de Chanel, then when you move to Dior Sauvage Elixir, it's a good, sexy, edgy fragrance, but everybody has it. Bleu de Chanel's the one fragrance that everybody in the world of fragrance has, but nobody cares. Because Bleu de Chanel has a type of sophistication with it that makes people look unique. So if you line 5 guys up wearing Bleu de Chanel, all 5 of them will smell slightly different based on how they look. They'll carry the fragrance in a different vibe, in a different light, in a way that makes women don't complain about the redundancy of Bleu de Chanel being used. Dior Sauvage Elixir is a little bit different because of how it's used. So I think you should have something a little more niche feeling. So move up to the Aventus DNA and have yourself a showstopper niche smelling fragrance. Creed's Aventus Absolute. It's this truly is not one-to-one Absolute. It's the closest fragrance you can find to Aventus Absolute or Absolute Aventus, but it's more truly a middle of the road fragrance that smells both like Aventus Absolute and Versace Eros Energy. So you get kind of a young man, old man feel to it. And by old man, I just mean like 30-year-old. So you kind of get this hip young guy with money and this kind of classy older gentlemanly vibe. You get the smokiness with the fragrance, but it's still got that bright pineapple, but it's still done 50 times better than Al Haramain and Not Only Intense and Club de Nuit Intense Man and all that bullcrap. So, and this is only $40, so it's going to be even cheaper than Dior Sauvage Elixir. So truthfully, if you just got Bleu de Chanel and then you got Armaf Peugeot 1, you've got sexy, sexy, sexy seductive covered, and you've got sexy, 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 versatile, upscale casual completely covered year round. Both these fragrances are year round fragrances. That's a fragrance pair that's really hard to beat. I'd be really interested to see anybody's opinion on what would be more sexy at the same price point than Bleu de Chanel and Peugeot 1. Any of you guys want to put in the chat 2 fragrances that cost less than $100 combined that would beat out Bleu de Chanel and Peugeot 1? Give me 2 fragrances. I'd be interested to see that. SB is back to his normal self. Almost, Joel. Almost. My voice is cash. 50. Bleu de Chanel EDP in India is like 1,500 rupees, which comes to about $195. Manav, DM me after this, and I'll give you an Indian website that will give it to you for cheaper. Just DM me, Manav. I'll find it for you, brother. Is PDM worth the money? Not all of it. Actually, yeah. All of Parfums de Marly is worth the money, but at the discounter level. So, you know, Joma Shop, stuff like that. You can get PDM for under $200. But honestly, Jigaboo, that's a question you shouldn't even be asking. You're in high school and you can barely afford your next fragrance. So don't, you're not ready for Parfums de Marly yet, and that's okay. Yes, I did like the Man in Black. I blind bought it from your recommendation. Really like it. It seems better for nighttime. I'm in an area that's hot 10 months out of the year. You know, Derek, so am I. You know, I'm in the hottest place in the world. I'm in Arizona. We're north of 100 degrees almost 365 days a year. I still wear this. But you are right. This is a colder weather or nightlife or indoor fragrance. You don't want to wear this out in the sun. But it's nice. It's nice. Yeah, bro. Yeah, if you're looking for a spring, summer, and you're 40, man, you're 40. I'm gonna be honest, man. It's hard for me to recommend this to people, even though it's my favorite fragrance right now, period. And it probably will be for the rest of the year. Because you have to be somewhat into vetiver. And I don't know why people struggle with vetiver. I just really don't. You know, I'm a 36-year-old man. I teach kids. I'm with older gentlemen all the time. You know, there really isn't an age group that I'm not around a lot. You know, I go to the prisons and I talk to people in prison. I'm in finance. I talk to older people ranging from 50 years old to 90 years old all day long. I teach the youth because I'm a mentor to a lot of kids, and uh, I, you know, me. A lot of people don't know I'm a rapper and an audio engineer. So I perform. I get out in my city. A lot of young people really know me and look up to me, and I like to think I have a good pulse on what the people want. But I'm only one man with one personality, so I'm not always correct. But if you're 40 years old, Derek, and you want a spring summer banger that's so versatile, it's of the same luxury quality as the Bulgari Man in Black and the same price point, but is better for hot, hot weather. If you want to trust me here, I will say go with Mancera Vetiver Sensual. It's vetiver. It's a bright citrus basket, high expensive woody citric basket, very bright, very uplifting, very invigorating, very expensive. Now, if you struggle with vetiver, if you're intimidated by vetiver, or you're slightly, I don't know about it, I would recommend going with Mancera's Amberful instead. Heavy amber, spring summer fragrance, spritzy, citric, amber, beautiful fragrance for hot weather as well. But I think as a 40-year-old male, this one is going to be more sexy to either your lady or it depends though. You said she likes Aqua di Gio and Percival, so she likes sweet on you. Go Amberful. Actually do this. I'm going to give you a fragrance that's slightly below Vetiver Sensual, but it'll get you the same vibe to see if you are even attracted to it. Go with Ferragamo's Bright Leather. You can get a 50 ml of this for $25. Sexy, ignore the name leather. This is one of the most unleathery leathers out there. Bright citrus, luxurious light leather in the background. One of the only leathers you can wear in spring, summer. It's very fresh, very open. Don't let the name leather intimidate you. Get Ferragamo Bright Leather, and it is going to be the entry point to Vetiver Sensual to get that type of feel. But in the background, get Mancera's Amberful, and that'll cost you 70 to $100, but you'll get 120 ml, so it'll last you forever. And give those two a whirl. Those two will give you two different vibes in the citrus category. One will be bright, crisp citrus and amber, and then this will be bright bergamot and lemon citrus on luxurious blonde leather. But it'll be so bright and so light that it's going to be so oddly perfect for warm weather. And again, you can get this fragrance for like $25. You can get 100 ml of it for like 30, $40. But Amberful is going to be your next step. And if you love this, then later on in life, spend $70 and get Vetiver Sensual from Mancera. It is a showstopper hot weather fragrance. And if you don't believe me for either, go get Decants. Any oud fragrances you recommend for the summer? That's hard to say, man. No. Come on, Manav. You should know better than me, man. Oud does not belong in the summer. Must have designer signature fragrance for a 23-year-old. Must have designer signature. Oh, that's easy. Givenchy Gentleman's Society. Must have designer signature. Oh my gosh. Givenchy Gentleman Society or Gentleman Boisé, but I would recommend Gentleman Society. It's a good classic. Gucci Guilty Elixir is unreal. It's so good. It is. It truly is. The secret to Gucci Guilty Elixir being as incredible as it is only one note that nobody talks about, and it is orris root. I'm looking into niche. I was a man of means. I don't know what that means. What niche summer fragrance? Oh yeah, I've already gone over this, Derek. Okay, thanks for the recommendations. I had to retire my Creed Green Irish Tweed because she told me it reminded her of Irish Spring soap. Yeah. I mean, and she's not wrong. You know? She's not wrong. She's not wrong. It sounds like she really appreciates slightly sweet, seductive fragrances on you. And you got to really figure that out because, like, my woman, for instance, she doesn't like sweet fragrances on me at all. She likes a grown, powerful, sexy man smell, but her sexy is classy, not sweet. So she prefers me smelling 10, 20 years older than I look. You know? So you just got to know your woman, you know? But there's some sweet fragrances that she really finds to be sexy, you know? But for the most part, she likes, you know, woods, citruses, vetivers, leather, stuff like that. She's not into vanilla, cinnamon, and spices and all that crap. She's like, you know, no, you smell like a 12-year-old doing that. But that's just her. You got to know your woman. You wear what your woman likes. That's just the bottom line. Sup, bro? Hope you're feeling better. Thank you, Seth. Bro is on a rampage tonight. Thank you, Manav. If you ever smell like a bagel, she would eat you alive. Oh my gosh, man, I'm way behind. Let me see if I can speed through this. I'm in my 20s. What else should I get? I got Dior Elixir, Ferragamo F, Versace Eros, Creed Aventus, Leighton, Amir Celestial, Interlude 53, Red Tobacco, Jean Paul Gaultier Elixir, and Armaf Urban Man Elixir. Switch it up, scientists. Go Amberful from Mancera. That's a DNA you're completely missing. You're in your 20s, man. Go Mancera Amberful and call it a day. And then you need to just take a break. What do you think of Club de Nuit line? Entry level. It's entry level. I have almost all of them. The only thing I don't have is Club de Nuit Sillage, and it's because I don't think the bottle's worth it. I would get Mahir Legacy Silver instead. I do have the fragrance just as a decant. I didn't think it was worth buying a bottle. I swear I thought I saw a dog behind you. Right. You wish you saw a dog behind me. Get some sleep, Manav. I also forgot that I have Gucci Guilty Black. Okay. Good night, Manav. Have a good night's sleep, brother. I feel like you've been tied down for a decade. I don't... Oh, good, man. I feel like you've been tied down for a decade. Yeah, I have. I don't want to smell like I'd have an affair, but I do. See, it starts with that idea, and that's the beginning of the end. I don't want to smell like I want to have an affair, but I do. That's hilarious. I'm paraphrasing what you said, but that's basically what you said. I agree 100%. I definitely wear fragrance. Dang, man, I'm way behind. Instant Crush or Arabian's Tonka? Instant Crush without question. Instant Crush is good. It's not my tea, but it's good for anyone else. I'm just weird. Tell him get Versace Eros instead of Sauvage EDT. That per show one's pushing 50. Tell him to get Versace Eros instead of Sauvage EDT. That per show is pushing 50. What do you mean? No, don't. No, Fendi, that's bad advice. That's bad advice because you're telling him to pick it based off of fragrances. He was getting Bleu de Chanel. If he has Bleu de Chanel, he should have never got Eros. He needs a showstopper, stunner, upscale date fragrance. That's why I told him to get Peugeot. And Peugeot's worth the 50. Peugeot's going for $40 right now. So all you need to do is shop around at all the discounters and find the place giving the free shipping or pay the lowest shipping out. But even if after shipping you paid 50, which would still be crazy, that's still worth it over Sauvage Elixir and over Eros. If you're going to get Bleu de Chanel and Eros combo together, sure. But it's kind of redundant to have both of those together because Bleu de Chanel already is a versatile upscale freshie with class, right? So you have a classy, versatile everyday wear. Versace Eros is a versatile everyday wear that leans slightly sexy date night category. But why would you get a slightly sexy date night category? Just go all the way date night. That's why I told him to get Peugeot 1, because you're going to have a showstopper Aventus DNA that's absolutely date night and niche. And that in that regard, it's better than Eros. Not on a Eros versus Peugeot level. On a, that's going to fit that occasion better than Eros ever will, because Eros is playing in a couple of different arenas and it's generic to a lot of people. Okay, let me get back to speeding through chat. That Ombre Noir still hitting? Yeah, it's still hitting. Yeah, it's still hitting. Favorite clones? I'm not answering that. My favorite clones. Take a screenshot. Here. Take your picture. I can't get every shelf. Here, take a picture of that shelf. All right. Two strongest summer compatible scents in your collection. I mean, I have summer bangers, bro. Who cares what's in my collection, age 35? Why don't you just go out and get something like two summer bangers for performance? Mancera Amberful, Ferragamo Bright Leather. Try that. Favorite clones, told you. So I'm thinking my next buys are going to be Bleu de Chanel and Instant Crush. Haven't smelled Bleu de Chanel yet, though. Yeah, absolutely you should blind buy. Of course. You got me stuck trying to think of a better combo at the price point. Terre de Hermes, and then I'm stuck. Yeah, see, the thing about Terre de Hermes is I would prefer Terre de Hermes over Bleu de Chanel, but people wouldn't prefer Terre de Hermes on me over Bleu de Chanel. That's the problem. You can't pick the fragrance you would choose. You have to pick the fragrance that the people would choose. Because if you're only going with two fragrances for life, you're going to want to go with the more mass appealing stuff. So Bleu de Chanel has a DNA. Terre de Hermes is considered more uniquely weird. So to people who want you to smell different, you're going to smell great. But most people are going to want you to just smell classy and sexy and fresh. So it's like really hard to beat. In finding a fragrance that'll take care of all the other arenas that Terre de Hermes is not covering, which is basically just covering like unique, fresh, woody, citric, you know, you'd have to cover a whole bunch of other bases. What cologne do you think Bruce Wayne would wear? I mean, it's called Man in Black for a reason, right? Do you recommend blind buying Rasasi La Yukawam? Never. Never. No, Brass. See, the problem is you watch too much YouTube. You heard people on YouTube say La Yukawam was one of the best leather fragrances. And that is false. It was one of the best leather fragrances when it first came out, because in the clone world, when there were no such thing as clones, it was one of the first clones that came out, and people were shocked and astonished by how close of a fragrance it was to cloning its leather titan. But today, even though, yes, it is still an original OG, in the same way that Club de Nuit Intense Man is still an original OG, Club de Nuit Intense Man today is not the best Aventus clone. It is just the most sold because it's the most dinosaur of fragrance in the clone world. Same with La Yucawam, but that doesn't mean you should buy it. There are so many better leather fragrances out there to buy today than La Yucawam. La Yucawam is inflated to all hell in price because it's not sold that much anymore. So you're still going to pay like $40, $50 for La Yucawam, which is ridiculous. La Yucawam today should be $10, $15 at the most. I don't understand why people are inflating the heck out of La Yucawam. There's no reason. There's no, listen guys, I'm going to tell you guys something that a lot of people aren't going to tell you, but it needs to freaking be said. Tuscan leather is not all that. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to look dead in the camera. Tuscan leather from Tom Ford is not all that. Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen? Now, ombre leather is phenomenal. But Tuscan leather? What are we talking about? Do you guys realize, and this is where people got the game screwed up. We watched too many fragrance reviewers talk about the closeness of clones and oh my gosh, they nailed the Tuscan leather. They nailed the ombre leather. Tuscan leather is not all that, guys. I hate to tell you. Tuscan leather, if you're going to even play with it, you should just go ombre leather and call it a day. Tuscan leather is for a very specific 35 and up individual who makes a lot of money. It is a very specific type of fragrance for an individual. If you're not John Wayne, or you're not James Bond, or you don't own any type of Italian leather, like real Italian leather, like if you don't own a single piece of real Italian leather from Italy, don't wear Tuscan leather. Just don't. It doesn't belong on you. It does not belong on you. Just trust me. Get ombre leather. You gotta just trust me. And it's for that reason that La Yucawam it's a shadow. You just have to trust me. Joel's going to tell you it's a great Tom Ford Tuscan leather clone because it is. But at the end of the day, it's Tuscan leather. It's almost blasphemous that a Tuscan leather clone was ever made because if you don't specifically pull off the Tuscan leather DNA to a T, it's so easy to spot that it's cheap leather. And it's like, Tuscan leather is so specific of a type of individual that you should buy the real Tuscan leather, and it only fits like 1 or 2 people per 50,000 individuals. That you shouldn't even be messing with it unless you can actually afford real Tuscan leather. Now, ombre leather is a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? If you want to get something like off non-rare carbon and call it a day, go ahead. But La Yucawam is really a dinosaur of a fragrance in today's market. What up, Greenlee? Meyer or Moore, it's okay. What makes Instant Crush better than Arabian's Tonka? Because the scent bubble told you. I blind bought Latafa Assad. Did I mess up? I don't know. You tell me. I need to tell you if you messed up buying Assad, you have it right in front of you. Tell yourself. Terre de Hermes is a classic. Not my style, but it's a gentleman's fragrance. Yeah, it's not for everybody. That's why I say, Terre de Hermes is a specific, unique individual that the guy who wears Terre de Hermes is the guy who doesn't own Bleu de Chanel. He's the guy that says, yes, I know Bleu de Chanel is timeless, classy, and sexy, but I don't want to smell like every other timeless, sexy, classy guy. I want to smell different. And you're going to sacrifice a certain level of sexy allure to certain women because you're going to narrow your choices to a certain type of woman who would really appeal to that. To many women, Terre de Hermes feels too unique. It's a fragrance that a lot of women would say, well, it smells okay, but it's kind of not all that. Bleu de Chanel is going to be a lot more familiar. A lot more range of women are going to say that that's sexy. Now, Terre de Hermes is truly a character piece. It's not about the woman. It's about you and how you want to feel. And in that respect, if you can rock it, you can knock any woman down that you want. Joma Shop is safe. They just take forever with shipping. That's all you need to know. Ignite Oud is better than La Yucawam, probably. Take care, Jigaboo. Have a good night, brother. Always good seeing you. It isn't all that compared to ombre leather is way better. Amen. Smells like a fruit cigar. That's crazy. That's crazy, Beard. A fruit cigar. That's crazy. Was looking at Argos Neptune's Trident. The notes look good, but I don't want to blind buy. You can't blind buy Argos. You can't. Yeah, you can't, Derek. You can't. Argos you can't play with. I don't think you can get Bleu de Chanel on discounters anymore. That's blasphemy. That's false. You shouldn't even wear Tuscan leather indoors. No, you can. You could. You could certainly wear Tuscan leather indoors. Like if I'm going on a business meeting, right? And I got my briefcase here. And this is why I showed you guys this. This is real Italian leather, shipped from Italy, right? But if I've got on a gray suit, I'm going gray on white for the day. And I'm not going to wear gray vetiver. And I want to wear Tuscan leather. This is the briefcase I'm walking in. We're stepping in the room, big money on the table. It goes with the leather, it fits the vibe. Tuscan leather might be appropriate. But you can't wear Tuscan leather. It's almost like you can't wear Tuscan leather without leather on. And you can't wear a leather jacket, a leather bomber. Tuscan leather is not for a motorcycle guy. It's not for a cowboy. Tuscan leather feels very James Bond in a gray suit driving a gray Jaguar with a briefcase because he's about to do a $10 million deal. That's like a very specific type of dude. Or he's taking his private jet and he's wearing Tuscan leather because he's smoking a cigar on a private jet going to Belize. You know what I'm saying? Like Tuscan leather, I think people get it twisted. Like they think Tuscan leather's on the same level of ombre leather. Like if you're just at a cigar lounge or you're upscale or you're at a theater, you could just wear Tuscan leather. No, you cannot. Would you recommend French Defense and Game of Spades Wild Card? That's a very two completely different fragrances. French Defense, I don't think I think French Defense is one of the most non-recommendations from mind games I would have simply because of the cherry. It's so easy to clone the cherry in French Defense that they actually now have 2 or 3 valid clones of French Defense. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend French Defense. I wouldn't recommend Jadoub for the same reason. You could easily find a pomegranate fragrance and just kind of spritz it up, kind of layering it, but no. I think French Defense is not worth the money because you can get that DNA in so many other fragrances. Game of Spades Wild Card is okay. I just don't think it's worth the money. I haven't smelled Instant Crush, so I was asking. Yeah. Varvado's Artisan Anniversary is good. It's okay. I'm waiting on the clone to arrive. Got the Latafa Mir in and the 1 ml of Inspiration of Clive Christian Town and Country. 80%, and for the money, Saved a Mir is decent. Okay. What are your thoughts on Followed by Kerosene? Haven't put my nose to that yet. Oh, I got to the bottom. Gotta go. Appreciate you, Joel. Thank you so much, brother. Always good for you, man. Always good having you in here moderating. I really appreciate your time. So good to see you, man. Good to finally be back on lives. You don't think Game of Spades is worth 60? Let me try it. Shout outs to Gator for hooking me up with this. Yeah, it's Lafayette Street. No. I'm gonna be honest with you, Beard. I reviewed a Lafayette clone from Yaman Lale that I believe is 40 bucks for 100 ml. And it's actually better than this. This is good, but $60 is a different tier of clone for me. I'm going to be honest with you. Once you push the $50 to $80 range for clones, it's almost no longer a clone for me because I have to ask the question, because once you hit 60 to 80 bucks, you're now entering into upscale designer price territory. Now you have to talk about fragrances like Givenchy and stuff like that. And so you have to ask yourself, are these fragrances better? Do they justify the price over a upscale designer? And so for me, Lafayette Street is truly a cheapy DNA to me. It's a synthetic, slightly natural green that's playful. It's almost like candied fresh green. It's along the lines of a Coach Green, Victor and Rolf Night Vision, that kind of candied green DNA, close to Greenwich Village. I would go with the Yaman Lale because I feel like the Yaman Lale is not only 20, 30 bucks cheaper, but it has a fresher, more photoreal take on the DNA. This is a good fragrance. It wouldn't be money poorly spent, but I think they upcharged this fragrance for the DNA that it offers. Good performance, good projection. I would say this is about 85% close to Lafayette, but Elm Street from Yaman Lale is going to be cheaper and more photoreal fresh, and it might have slightly more performance. So yeah, I think 60 is a bit steep for this type of DNA. there's no doubt this will do the job. I just think it's overpriced. 60 is a bit steep, not only for the DNA, but also the quality that you get from the DNA. Again, I wouldn't be, I personally actually would be pissed spending 60 for this DNA. But again, if I had to pick between many of the things out there, I believe there's 3 very valid Lafayette clones out there. There might actually be 4 or 5 that I just haven't worn, but I've worn about 3. I think the Yeoman Elm Street has this in freshness and a slight bit more performance. And I think you can get it for about 35 bucks. Derek, listen, man. You're a smart man. You're a very smart man. But after what I told you about those fragrances, specifically Vetiver Sensual, please come back and I want to know as soon as you get those fragrances how you feel about them. So please come back. I gotta hear your thoughts on them. Because Amberful is playful, but very upscale and very timeless and very any season, any reason. Beautiful, bright citric amber. Vetiver Sensual is more classy, man, woody, vibrant citrus. And that one's going to be the one that makes you smell more man's man, expensive. Amberful's going to have a little more playful, more seasonal take. But they're good fragrances, man. They're great fragrances. Jaguar Era and Jaguar Stance, terrible fragrances. Thank you, Nick, for the other Lafayette clone, by the way. What fragrance would match the beaches of Mexico? And by the way, Derek, another reason those 2 are great recommendations is because they're going to give you another side. You know, you have your Bulgari Man in Black now, so you have your sexy, seductive, dark, but fresh fragrance. Amberful and Vetiver Sensual are going to hit 2 completely different arenas for you that you don't have in your collection currently. And so for that alone, like, they're worth buying. I was in bed and then realized I forgot to ask you, should I buy the tester of expensive frags for $30 cheaper? Always, always. If you have a valid website, always get the tester. We'll let you know when it comes. I remember liking Tom Ford Grey Vetiver years ago. Don't remember Vetiver being polarizing. Well, you know, in fairness, Derek, Grey Vetiver is the safest vetiver you can wear because it just smells like clean soap and grapefruit. So Tom Ford Grey Vetiver for somebody who's new to vetiver is actually one of the best fragrances you could show somebody because it doesn't smell like true grass vetiver. But if you liked this at all, Vetiver Sensual smokes this fragrance. And this is my favorite vetiver fragrance. So, yeah, you're in good hands, bro. You're in good hands. Have a good night. Have a good night, Jigga. As long as the testers come with the cap, I would say always go for it. Yeah, I mean, bro, Joma Shop's tricky. If you're not on Joma Shop, you could fully trust it. If you're getting it from Joma, if you get a messed up cap or something, bro, which I've never gotten, you know, this Bulgari is actually a tester. It came in this box right here. So it's a tester box, but it's a tester. And it was money. So, you know, I always recommend getting the testers if it can save you bread. For Jigaboo, he needs all the money he can get. So, absolutely. I can't find Blue de Chanel on discounters. Do you have a website? Yeah. Do me a favor, Henry. DM me on Instagram and just say, hey, copy that question, say, can you find me Blue de Chanel on a discounter website? And when I get off of my phone, I'll copy paste a link to you to get it. It won't be an affiliate link or anything like that. It'll just be, you know, Fragrance by CA or something like that, whichever I can find to get you that discount. But I'll absolutely get that for you. Jaguar is tough, Mayor, because most Jaguar fragrances either suck and the good ones smell like other fragrances that they're cloning. So that's why I don't even mess with Jaguar. I have a couple of Jaguar reviews on my channel. Atomizer check on Bulgari Man in Black. The atomizer is amazing. What I love about Bulgari is you can travel with it because the cap is actually a twist. So you can turn it and it locks the fragrance so you could travel with it. And then when you're ready to use the fragrance, it snaps and then you just push on the top. So this is a great, and the atomizer is great. It's one of the very few fragrances that has that type of atomizer. All right, guys, last minute questions. I'm gonna take a piss and then I'm gonna come back and answer any of your last minute questions and then I'm gonna roll out. So put your questions in the chat. I'll be right back in like 2 minutes and then we'll close out for the night. Louis? Hey, Lou. Hey, Lou. All right, let's answer some last minute questions and then head out. I used to think Bulgari was cheap till I heard about Tigar. Yeah, Bulgari's not cheap, man. What do you think? Does it match Mexican beachy vibe? Does what? Oh, Tales from Zanzibar. Oh, most definitely, especially with the guava note it has. Speaking of guava, a great guava fragrance is Day 3 Escandalo, or Escandalo. That's what it is. Day 3 Escandalo, one of the most photoreal guavas you'll smell. I've been enjoying Bois Imperial. What's your feelings on that? It's a good fragrance, but it's also a clone. That's what a lot of people don't know. I don't have anything from Bulgari yet, but I want Aqua, Glacial Essence, and Rain Essence. Those are pretty good. Those are pretty good. Those are older fragrances, but definitely good fragrances. You seen that new Day 3 that has banana and pineapple in it? Hey, listen, fun fact, the perfumer of Day 3 actually lives 2 minutes down the street from me. And they've actually invited me to their first boutique showcase in April. So I will be vlogging from their headquarters in a month. What does Man in Black compare to or smell anything like Blind Buying? Bulgari Man in Black smells like two fragrances. One, it smells exactly like Prada Luna Rossa Black with more projection and more performance. or it smells like Tom Ford's Black Orchid with no orchid. So it has like the cacao, the patchouli, the dark, mysterious with slight sweet feel to it, but no orchid floral notes at all inside of it. So it smells 100% like Prada Luna Rosa Black with more projection and more performance, or it smells like Tom Ford without the Black Orchid. Spice Bomb Extreme does not smell like Bulgari Man in Black at all. That's a different DNA. That DNA is vanilla, cinnamon, amber. Do you have an opinion about Guerlain's L'Homme Ideal Intense? No, I do think L'Homme Ideal Extreme is a great fragrance, but Fragrance World's Extreme L'Homme Supreme will do the job. This is $20 on Amazon right now, and it's very simple DNA. Cherry almond champagne. Cherry almond champagne for $20. Definitely think you should have it in your collection. Very unique. Man in Black or Initio Side Effect? Man in Black. Initio Side Effect is very boozy, extremely sweet. It's a boy toy type of fragrance. Rich young people wear it, and it's a bit heavy. It's a bit nuclear. Man in Black's more seductive, more soft, but it still has good projection. Probably has about 4 or 5 feet of projection on it. Wearing Bulgari's Man in Black, if it was an Initio fragrance, it'd be like wearing Oud for Greatness, but sweeter. In your opinion, what's the best car company that makes the best fragrances? Bentley, without question. Do you like Spectre Ghost? I don't like it enough to buy it, but I think for people chasing the DNA that it's cloning, it's a great choice. A lot of people love Spectre Ghost. They'll call it about a 9 out of 10 fragrance on average. I feel like a new obsession has been unlocked with these fragrances. Yeah, it's like that, Derek. It's like that, man. It's like that. Well, hey, listen, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Scent Bubble. If you have any questions that I didn't answer, please copy paste them into the comment section of this live as soon as it ends, and I will answer your questions within 24 hours. All of the people who I asked to DM me your questions when I turn this off, please DM me. I will get back to you by tomorrow afternoon at the latest, and it's good to be back. I'm almost at 100%. Surprised I was able to go this long tonight. And yeah, we've got a lot of amazing content coming for you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Really appreciate you guys, as always, interacting in the chat. And hopefully I brought you guys some value tonight. Hope you guys have a wonderful night. Stay blessed. I'll talk to y'all soon.